This video has kindly been sponsored by OneFootball. With a rating of 4.8 out of 5 from over 70,000 reviews on the App Store, OneFootball really is the biggest and best app for football news, scores and stats from hundreds of leagues worldwide. In terms of FPL, you can also follow each team in the Premier League and get live updates from all the goals and assists every game week. Download it for free using the link in the description box below. Warning, this video contains team selection and captain choices which some viewers may find offensive. Hey guys, and welcome back to FPL TV. My sincere apologies for the lack of content since New Year, but unfortunately I've been bedridden with man flu for the past week, and therefore the game we all love has been at the very back of my mind. So let's get back into the swing of things and take a look at how my team performed in Gameweek 22 before then looking ahead to this weekend's game week. In total, 7 of my starting 11 returned points in Gameweek 22, which sounds like a very pleasing week. However, those returns were relatively small, with no double-digit hauls last week. The other issue is that from all the players that returned points for me, only 2 of them are below 30% in ownership, with just Mo Salah and Schmeichel slightly less owned, and even those 2 aren't exactly differentials. My key differential in Gameweek 22 was Raul Jimenez at home to Newcastle. Newcastle had an array of injuries heading into this game against Wolves, with notably both of their starting centre-backs also absent. For this reason, I chose to put the captaincy on Jimenez last week, hoping that popular captains like Vardy and Mane would remain quiet, and therefore the less owned Jimenez could shoot me up the rankings. Frustratingly though, despite Mane and Vardy only getting 3 and 5 points respectively, Jimenez blanked in that nice fixture at home to Newcastle, and that's now 5 captaincy blanks in a row for me, and 14 blanks in 22 game weeks overall. A shocking record. This alone tarnished any hopes of a good game week, and the captaincy is something I've struggled with all season. Due to my captain Jimenez blanking, it gave me a total score of 51 in game week 22, 6 points below the average. So, despite my health improving in the last few days, my FPL season certainly hasn't, as I still remain around the 2 million mark as I've been all season, and it's a rank I've just been unable to move from for months now. Let's move on to Game Week 23 now, and check out my transfers and team selection for the upcoming weekend. Also, if you find the content here at FPL TV entertaining, then be sure as always to support the channel by dropping a like on the video, and most importantly getting subscribed to the channel. With 2 free transfers available, I've already made my 2 moves this week, with Dele Alli making way due to his lack of form, and Raul Jimenez also leaving, with Wolves having some much more difficult games on the way. Jimenez has been very consistent for the majority of my time owning him, but I simply need to release some cash from my forward line, and he was 3rd choice for me behind Vardy and Tammy Abraham. So in comes Mason Greenwood as my budget enabler up front, and the cash freed up has now allowed me to upgrade Dele Alli to Sadio Mane, as I look to double up on the Liverpool midfield in preparation for their double game week in 24. Liverpool also have some very fruitful fixtures following their double game week, and I'm quite excited about owning both Mane and Salah for this run-in. With my power midfield of Salah and Mane all but ready for their nice fixtures, it has however kept me very weak in defence, without any cash or transfers left this week to improve it. This means for Game Week 23 I'm going to have to play one of either Rico, Matt Targett or Kelly, and with Rico potentially out of favour now, and Matt Targett an injury concern, I could be stuck with playing Kelly away to Man City. Far from ideal. In terms of replacing them, I'm keen to buy a Brighton defender soon for their long run of nice fixtures, but as things stand, Lewis Dunk is slightly out of my price range. I can afford his teammate Adam Webster, who does have 3 goals to his name this season, but taking a -4 hit for a budget defender this week doesn't quite seem worth it. So I'll likely relook at this again next week, with Man United's Brandon Williams, another budget defender, firmly on my watch list from Game Week 24 onwards. My defence and bench options could do with a rejig soon, so depending on how Game Week 23 goes this weekend, I haven't ruled out using the wildcard in the next few weeks. And in the second half of this season, still being ranked at 2 million, I may have to gamble on a few differentials now, and go against the highly owned players like KDB and Vardy if I am to shoot up the rankings. But that's something I can worry about next week, so for now, here's how the team currently lines up. It'll be a 3-5-2 this week, and as mentioned, I'll have to play one of my budget defenders in Rico, Target or Kelly. For this upcoming game week, none of them are ideal, but of the three, I think I prefer Matt Target, who arguably offers the most goal threat, and he did score against Brighton in the reverse of this fixture in game week 9. The question is whether he'll be fit or not for this one, so I'll wait for more information from the press conferences, and to be fair, Kelly or Rico can always auto-sub for him if he does miss out anyway. Despite not wanting to play one of those three defenders, the rest of my team however does look strong, especially in midfield, and it's my budget option Todd Cantwell that I do have high hopes for in game week 23. The Norwich midfielder has managed 8 attacking returns this season, with 7 of those all coming at home. Therefore, with a struggling Bournemouth up next, a side who shipped 4 to West Ham and 3 to Watford in their last 2 games, I'm hoping for a decent return from him. Up front, Tammy Abraham will remain in my squad for a further game week, and 8 of his 13 goals have come away from home this season. Therefore, a trip to Newcastle could be a decent one for the Chelsea man. With that said, depending on his performance this weekend, it may be his last game week in my side, with the incredibly consistent Danny Ings continuing to score so frequently for £1 million cheaper. Abraham to Ings could be a move I make next week, which would then allow a bit more cash into my defence if needed. As for the captaincy this game week, this is something I've completely lost all confidence in getting right. It'll definitely be between the 4 big guns in my squad, in Mane, Salah, Vardy or Kevin De Bruyne. In recent years, the derby of Liverpool and United hasn't often provided high-scoring games. Granted, I expect Liverpool to win that fixture, but it still feels like an unpredictable one. For my current situation, Mo Salah would be the biggest differential captaincy-wise, but in 4 Premier League games against United, the Egyptian is yet to score against them. That's something fresh in my mind, but United did play in the Cup in midweek, whilst Liverpool are well rested, so there's certainly still appealing options and ones I'm considering. Since the end of game week 22, I've had the armband on Kevin De Bruyne, and that's where it still sits at the moment. He's only blanked in 1 of the past 6 game weeks, and with Man City starting to fire on all cylinders again recently, is there need to look anywhere else? Despite smashing 6 goals past Villa though, personally Crystal Palace is never an opponent I like in FPL. They've only conceded 1 goal in each of their last 5 games, so the floodgates don't often open with Palace. Meanwhile, Jamie Vardy faces Burnley away, a team that have lost 4 games on the bounce now, and this includes losing 2-1 to Aston Villa in their last home game. This season, Vardy has also been very reliable away from home, especially against the sides outside of the top 6, so I may switch to him before the deadline. That's my team selection video for game week 23, and if you'd like to see the final team lineup, you can do so on the FPL TV Twitter page shortly before the game week deadline. If you enjoyed the video, be sure as always to drop a like and get subscribed to FPL TV. Good luck to you all for game week 23, FPL responsibly, and I'll catch you all very soon.